Welcome to a brand new episode of the Middleman Podcast. And so today we're going to be talking about Hairspray. I'm going to try and kind of hurry up and do this because once again I only have 15 minutes and I really don't want this to turn into two parts. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get things started. First of all, Chucky's Playground, really great place to be. You know, if you haven't signed up, definitely check it out because there's always so much stuff happening there. And Movie Mayhem with Spanky and G. They recently came back with a brand new episode, and I couldn't have been more excited about that. It was just so awesome. And they did an episode on Super, which is a movie that stars Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page and stuff like that. And, that episode was really good. And I haven't seen the movie yet, but I do really want to. It's directed by James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy and Slither and stuff like that, so I think that would be really cool. So, a great show. Glad that Movie Mayhem is back, and it is just so awesome. So, let's go ahead and get things started. The movie I'm going to be doing is Hairspray, and it's going to be the 2007 version of Hairspray. And it's March, so throughout all this month, I'm going to be taking a look at all these movies that are either musicals or have something to do with music being the focal point. So, like, I'll just go ahead and give away what the next episode is going to be. The next episode is going to be School of Rock. So, yeah, and that deals with music as well. So, either a musical or music-related episodes. That's what I'm going to be doing for this month. So let's go ahead and get things started. Hairspray 2007. And the first time I saw this was about a couple years ago. I'm not sure which particular year. I think it might have been 2011 or so. And for the record, I am not a big fan of musicals. I'm just not. I just don't like musicals in general. You know, they're not really my thing, really. So, I decided to go ahead and watch it, because I own the movie and I never really watched it. So, I'm like, you know what, why not? Let's go ahead and watch it. I got nothing better to do. So, I was bored, so watch it. And I was expecting to hate it. Like, I really was just expecting to just hate this movie with a passion. And sort of the reason for that being was that I think, like, beforehand I had watched another musical that I'm actually going to be covering this month. I don't want to give away what it is yet, but I was just watching it and I was just hating it. So I was really not a big fan of musicals at the time. But, watching Hairspray, I was actually enjoying it. So I actually really do like this movie. I mean, I don't know. So I'll just go ahead and talk about the plot. The plot centers around Tracy Turnblad, who is played by Nikki Blonsky, and she's very likable in the role, very energetic, stuff like that. So, and it takes place in Baltimore, of course, because the original was done by John Waters, and he does all of his movies in Baltimore, so yeah. And she's best friends with Penny Pingleton, and she's played by Amanda Bynes, or as I like to call her, Crazy Girl. And they always watch the Corny Collins show after school, and I think it's like every day that this happens. And I don't know exactly how to call it. I guess it's sort of like this movie's version of American Bandstand. Or something like that, where it's like this teenage dancing show. It's hosted by Corny Collins, who's played by Jason Marsden. I think that's how you say it. And he's been in a lot of stuff. He was Cyclops in X-Men. And he was in Enchanted, and he was like the villain in Anchorman 2. So he's been in a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of teenagers on the show. There's Amber Von Tussle, who's played by Brittany Snow. She was in that crappy Prom Night remake, and she was also in Pitch Perfect. And also, Zac Efron probably is Link Larkin, and he's pretty much like like I guess the star of it, sort of. And he has a very Elvis kind of look going for him, It's very 50s-esque Elvis with the tie, suit and tie, and the hair and all that. So he's very much like Elvis, appearance-wise, and even performance-wise, he is a little bit Elvis. And also Amber's mother, Velma, who's played by Michelle Pfeiffer, which is really cool to see her. And she's like the manager of the whole broadcast station that the show is on. And like, there's a ton of nepotism on her part because she makes sure that Amber is like the star of the show and all that. And Velma only allows African American kids once a month on the show for something called Negro Day. And also, the movie takes place in the early 60s, which is why the show is like, I don't know what the right term would it be. Let's just put it this way. The show is not racially integrated just yet. So Tracy tries to audition for like a new dancer because one of the dancers leaves the show and ends up not getting it. And Seaweed becomes friends with Tracy, and his sister is God, I can't remember her name. Lil Inez, yeah, that's it. So they end up attending a record hop, and a record hop is basically a dance event. Basically, it's also called a sock hop as well. And Corny Collins ends up noticing her dance, and ends up asking her to join the show. And she ends up becoming like a really popular dancer on the show. And so Tracy persuades her mother Edna, who's played by John Travolta in drag in a fat suit, to accompany her as her agent. And like, it's pretty interesting to see John Travolta underneath all this makeup and stuff. And so, yeah, like, and Wilbur, her dad, Tracy's dad, is played by Christopher Walken. Like, you've seen Christopher Walken, all in everything. He's in, like, everything. And, like, he runs, like, this joke shop, like, basically think of a family-friendly Spencer's Gifts, and that's pretty much what he runs. And I think it's, like, within the house, I think. I'm not sure. I think it's, like, right by the house that they live in or something like that. And so Tracy ends up sneaking out of the house to join a protest. And they all decide to march for integration on the show. Because the show is not racially integrated just yet, and everybody wants it to be integrated. And so and Link and Tracy end up falling in love and stuff like that. And the pageant is going on their way, and it's like a Miss Hairspray pageant. I think it happens like every year or something. So, and I think Amber wins like all the time, and so like before it's announced, all of them end up joining, and it ends up finally, and Lil Inez ends up winning the pageant, and so due to this, it integrates the Corny Collins show. And Amber ends up she ends up taking the loss rather well, which really upsets her, really upsets her mother. She ends up getting fired. And, like, everybody, just dances and celebrates the win, stuff like that. Good times roll on. Now, and that's pretty much the whole movie. There's really not that much to really say about it, to be honest, It's basically sort of a blockbuster kind of musical, And one thing I want to say is that the songs in here are really good. And that's really sort of like a turning point for me, when watching musical. Because, as I said before, I don't really like musicals. Mainly because the musical is just so silly and so I don't know what would the word would be. I just don't like the songs in there, but I really do like these songs, you know. And at first, the songs aren't really that great, to be honest. But as the movie rolls on, it becomes really good. Like, Lady's Choice is actually really good. Sort of that 50s Elvis kind of thing that Zac Efron does. And the New Girl in Town is pretty good as well. Welcome to the 60s is really good as well. Run Until That. Homeboy is pretty good as well. And I just had the Homeboy because, you know. Yeah. So, Your Time to Me is okay. And I Know Where I've Been. That's probably my favorite song in the movie. It's a very soulful, very gospel kind of song, you know, sort of like a Aretha Franklin kind of song, you know. So it's really good, you know. And Without Love is pretty good as well. You Can't Stop the Beat, that's okay as well. So for the most part, the songs are pretty good. You know, they're very catchy, you know, and like they're just really enjoyable, you know. So that's pretty much it for Hairspray. Not a ton to be said about it, but it's a really enjoyable movie. It's something that I really didn't expect to see. It's something I really didn't expect to like, you know. Like, out of all the musicals, you know, in the world, I never would have expected to like Hairspray, but I ended up, you know, really liking Hairspray. And so, yeah, so that's pretty cool as well. So I definitely recommend Hairspray. If you're a big musical fan, definitely check it out because it's really good. And even if you're not a musical fan, I'd still say check it out as well because you might end up liking it like me. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. And when I come back, whenever I'm going to come back, I'll be doing School of Rock. And that should be a really cool episode as well. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you all next time.